daughter is only 14 years old.
As in shoot back.
Each year, a staggering number of individuals vanish without a trace, leaving their loved ones in a state of perpetual worry and uncertainty. In this captivating video, we'll discuss the perplexing world of missing persons, exploring 15 missing people who were eventually found. These are remarkable cases indeed, who disappeared resurfaced after many years, sometimes even decades. Their journeys, shrouded in mystery, will leave you both astounded and intrigued. Number 15. Timothy Carney, who vanishes without a trace, seemingly forgotten, only to reappear after an extended absence. In a remarkable turn of events, after a baffling 7-year disappearance, Timothy Carney, a man who had vanished from the world's radar since 2004, resurfaced in September 2011. The narrative, tinged with intrigue and mystery, raises questions about whether he was ever truly missing. Carney's strange story commenced in 2004 when, at the age of 25, he was last seen by his roommate, Roy Anthony, in their Butler Ridge apartment. His sudden disappearance left a void, which was amplified by the puzzling circumstances. He had made a call to his employer, citing tardiness, but that was the last trace of him. His vehicle was discovered abandoned at the border of Elizabeth and Newark, but this story takes an astonishing twist. Captain Jeffrey Powell, speaking on behalf of Morris County Prosecutor Robert Bianchi, revealed that Carney had been located in 2011. His reappearance was shrouded in secrecy as he chose to remain silent about his whereabouts. Consequently, he was removed from the missing persons database. Throughout these years of uncertainty, Carney's parents, Phyllis and Ed, embarked on a relentless quest to find their son. With the support of the Kristen Foundation, they went to extraordinary lengths, even displaying billboards on Route 23, beseeching anyone with information to come forward. Yet, while the mystery of Carney's disappearance appeared solved, a new enigma lingers. Joan Petrusky, founder of the Kristen Foundation, and Carney's family suspect that the Gospel Outreach, a religious organization led by Jim Lethbridge, may have played a role in Carney's vanishing act and could still exert influence over him. Although they know of Carney's current location in Chicago, they remain uncertain about his motivations for staying silent all those years. Despite the unanswered questions, the prevailing sentiment is relief that Carney is alive and well. The family, instead of harboring resentment, is simply grateful for his safety and ready to rebuild the connections that have been severed for too long. Number 14. Luc Anne Johnson. If your mom goes missing for 52 long years and then surfaces saying she was never hiding, what would your reaction be? Would you say, "Okay, Mom, that's fine, let's move on"? Definitely not. The heartwarming tale of Luc Anne Johnson's reappearance after 52 years of mystery is nothing short of a captivating family reunion. Linda Evans, a Surrey resident, had believed her mother to be long gone until 2013, when she managed to reconnect with Lucy in the Yukon. The reunion began with an awkward phone conversation, as one would expect after more than 5 decades of separation. Lucy, now 77 years old, seemed to be in shock. But the sentiment was clear. They were eager to bridge the gap. Lucy revealed the astonishing news to Linda that she had around 200 relatives in the Yukon, awaiting her visit. For Linda, who had carried the belief that her mother didn't want to see her for years, this was a moment of immense relief. Their short conversation carried profound emotion as they exchanged heartfelt "I love yous." The disappearance of Luc Anne Johnson, also known as Lucy Carvel, dated back to 1961 when she was last seen in Surrey. Her case remained unresolved for decades, and Surrey RCMP included her in their Missing of the Month series, hoping for tips to surface regarding her whereabouts. It was Linda's persistence and resourcefulness that led to this heartwarming reunion. Her ads in northern newspapers eventually caught the attention of her half-sister Rhonda, who realized that the missing woman was their mother. Lucy, after all these years, asserted that she was never hiding, and the revelation seemed to have taken her in stride. While Lucy doesn't currently wish to speak publicly due to intense media attention, her extended family in the Yukon has warmly embraced Linda. Their family history may have its complications, but they welcomed her with open arms. Lucy's mysterious disappearance had led to suspicions, even involving police investigations and excavations. but no charges were ever laid due to insufficient evidence. Linda's father remarried and raised her, and he was later cleared of any involvement in Lucy's disappearance. Now, Linda looks forward to saving up and making the journey to the Yukon to meet her mother, sister, 2 brothers, and numerous other relatives she had no idea existed until this heartwarming reunion. Rhonda is equally thrilled to share her mom with Linda, emphasizing the welcome and warmth of their extraordinary family. Number 13. Jan Broberg. Jan Broberg's story is a chilling reminder of how predators can infiltrate even the closest-knit families. The tale of her abduction and abuse unfolds to reveal her captivity by a friend of the family. This is a heart-wrenching narrative of betrayal and manipulation. At the age of 9, Jan's family formed a close bond with the Berchtolds, seemingly like-minded friends in their LDS community. Bob Berchtold, known as B, groomed not only John but also her parents, Bob and Mary Ann, into a trusting relationship. He lured them with tales of UFOs and alien abductions, blurring the lines of innocence. However, when Jan turned 12, B kidnapped her, subjected her to brainwashing, and committed unspeakable acts of abuse. Jan's shocking story came to light in the 2019 Netflix documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight. The documentary exposed the inadequacies of understanding and recognizing child molesters within our communities. Jan, now 60, co-wrote a book with her mother, Mary Ann, and served as a co-producer for the TV drama A Friend of the Family to raise awareness about the tactics predators employ and the importance of spotting warning signs. Jan's parents were not to blame. They were manipulated by B, whom they considered a second father. This story is a chilling example of how predators can exploit trust and naivety. Jan's courage in sharing her story aims to prevent such horrors from befalling others. Number 12. Inguen Tan. Here is a poignant narrative that underscores the sad reality of human trafficking. The story of Inguen Tan emerges as a tale of resilience, deception, and eventual reunion. In 1997, she embarked on a journey from her home in Vietnam's Deep South, chasing the allure of a better life, only to become ensnared in a nightmare that spanned over 2 decades. Van's journey began with a deceitful promise, as she was told she would be returned to her hometown in Bac-Lu. Little did she know that she would wake up in China after being drugged and sold into a life of captivity. For 22 years, she languished in a foreign land, enduring unimaginable hardships. The turning point in Van's life came when locals near the Chinese border found her disoriented and desperate. Her story resonated across social media platforms, serving as the beacon that led her long-lost family to discover her whereabouts. A courageous journey to China by her brother, Inguen Tan, confirmed her identity and paved the way for her triumphant return. Inguen Tan's homecoming is nothing short of a bittersweet reunion. Her family had declared her deceased due to her extended absence, having lost hope after years of searching for her. It was poverty that had compelled her to leave her home initially. Now, after enduring countless trials, she stands on the precipice of returning to the embrace of her family. Her hometown has rallied to help her regain the crucial documents she lost during her arduous journey. Yet this story is not merely one woman's experience. It symbolizes a grave and pervasive issue that afflicts Southeast Asia: human trafficking. The Ministry of Public Security in Vietnam reveals that thousands of cases, with the majority of victims hailing from impoverished backgrounds, are similar to Van's. They are often coerced into forced marriages or thrust into the dark world of prostitution. Number 11. Robert McDonough. When you think you have seen it all, another just unfolds. Stories of missing people reporting their ordeals are rare, and here is one of a missing man walking up to a newsman to report his disappearance. The newsman must feel really good. He didn't have to outsource the story himself. In the cool, crisp morning air of Maine, the small town of Portland was gripped by the mystery of Robert McDonough's disappearance. As the clock ticked on and hope hung by a thread, news anchor reporter Norm Carco stood before his camera, broadcasting the story of the 72-year-old man who had gone missing. Before the broadcast, as the hours turned into days, the community yearned for a glimmer of hope, a sign that he would return safely to the fold. It was in this atmosphere of unease that Norm Karkos, an anchor reporter for WMTW Channel 8, a television station licensed to Poland Spring, Maine, stepped in to tell McDonough's story. Karkos, with a camera in tow, took to the airwaves, his voice resonating with the concern and empathy that the community felt. He narrated the tale of a man who had disappeared, a man whose absence had left a void in the community. The live news report had just concluded a plea to the viewers to help in the search when a curious turn of events transpired. A solitary figure, slender and weathered by time, began to emerge from the distance, making his way down the road. The camera, still rolling, recorded the improbable moment when fiction seemed to merge with the reality of McDonough's story. Karkos, still standing before the lens, looked at the approaching figure with a sense of astonishment. Robert McDonough, who had been lost in the Maine wilderness, was now found. The TV crew, awestruck by the unfolding drama, wasted no time and swiftly reached out to the Maine Warden Service. They hadn't merely covered a news story. They had become integral characters in a narrative that had taken a stunning, unforeseeable turn. The man who had quietly approached him turned out to be none other than Robert McDonough. Number 10. The incredible 30-year mystery unraveled. In 1986, the city of Kitchener, Ontario was gripped by the baffling disappearance of a 21-year-old man named Edgar Latulip. His story would become one of the most incredible missing person cases in Canadian history. Edgar was a young man with developmental disabilities, and on one fateful day, he vanished without a trace, leaving his family in agonizing uncertainty. Authorities launched an extensive search, but it yielded no clues about his whereabouts, and as the years passed, hope of finding him waned. It wasn't until 2016, a staggering 3 decades later, that the missing puzzle piece finally fell into place. A breakthrough came when Edgar, who now went by a different name, revealed his true identity to a social worker in St. Catharines, Ontario. He had been living in the city for years under the radar. Edgar's journey during those 30 years was nothing short of astonishing. After his disappearance, he had experienced memory loss, which led to his adoption by a caring family. Unaware of his true identity, he had led a quiet and unassuming life. It was only through persistent efforts by his social worker that the pieces of his past came together. Reuniting with his biological family was an emotional and joyous moment for Edgar and his loved ones. The mystery that had haunted them for so long had finally unraveled. Number 9. Carlos Sanchez. What a remarkable turn of events. A Spanish doctor who had been formally declared deceased in 2010 has resurfaced from obscurity, found living in an improvised tent deep within the verdant forests of Italy. This saga follows the mysterious journey of Carlos Sanchez Ortiz de Salazar, a medical practitioner from Spain, whose vanishing act during the 1990s remains shrouded in uncertainty. Amid the conflicting reports surrounding the exact year of his disappearance, he was conspicuously absent for 14 years, leading authorities in his homeland to prematurely pronounce him deceased. The revelation transpired when Italian mushroom foragers embarked on a quest in the heart of the Tuscany region and, to their astonishment, uncovered a trail of discarded bottles and water containers, which led them to a solitary figure. The ruffled sight and untamed beard of the man they encountered in a tent left an indelible impression. Without hesitation, the foragers sought the assistance of a forest ranger, and the mysterious recluse revealed himself as Carlos Sanchez Ortiz de Salazar. He confided in them, expressing his desire to live away from civilization, stating, "I'm Spanish, my name is Carlos, and I've been living here since 1997. I don't want to live among people. Now that you have found me, I need to get out of here." In a bid to corroborate his identity, Salazar presented an aged, expired passport bearing his name, and the awestruck individuals promptly photographed this curious piece of evidence. The news of this remarkable discovery quickly reached the ears of missing persons organizations in Italy and Spain, sparking a chain of events. When his family received word of their son's miraculous reappearance, they undertook a poignant journey to Italy with the hope of reuniting with Carlos. Overwhelmed with emotion, they recognized him in the photograph of his passport. However, their elation turned to bewilderment when they, alongside a determined search party, ventured into the forest where Salazar had last been seen, only to find that he had mysteriously vanished. Despite the mayor of Scarlino's uncertainty about the prospect of locating him again, Carlos Sanchez Ortiz de Salazar's parents remained steadfast in their resolve to embrace their son one last time, no matter how uncertain the reunion may be. Number 8. William Burgess Powell. In the heart of a small town in Georgia, a mystery unfolded that would baffle both the individual at its center and the authorities tasked with solving it. It was August 31, 2004, when a man was discovered, wounded and disoriented, lying naked beside a dumpster behind a Burger King restaurant. But what made this discovery truly baffling was the fact that the man had no identification, no possessions, and no memory of who he was. For over a decade, he went by the name Benjamin Kyle, an alias he chose in the absence of any other identity. Despite numerous efforts, including television publicity and a widespread search for clues, neither he nor the authorities could unravel the mystery of his past. It seemed as though the truth of his existence had been lost forever. It wasn't until late 2015 that the shadows began to lift. Years of relentless genetic detective work paid off, revealing his true identity as William Burgess Powell, born on August 29, 1948. With this discovery came a renewed sense of hope and a chance at a fresh start. His Social Security number was recovered, rendering him eligible for employment and much-needed public assistance. In the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, he not only found his name, but also a path back into society. Number 7. Kioma Gray. This is the story of a 15-year-old missing teenager, Kioma Gray. She vanished from Ventura, California in 2007, leaving her family in distress. Kioma had big dreams of becoming an OB/GYN and running a medical practice with her sister. However, her life took a troubling turn when she became involved with a 19-year-old former football player named Andrew Joshua Tafoya, leading to his arrest for unlawful sex with a minor. The day of Kioma's disappearance marked a turning point in the case. She was dropped off at Buena High School by her father and brother, but mysteriously disappeared, never making it to her classes. Investigations revealed that Tafoya had just been released from jail, having served time for his previous charges. Furthermore, a stolen car from the car lot where Tafoya worked was used in Kioma's abduction. Surveillance footage from the high school captured a vehicle matching the stolen car's description, suggesting that Tafoya had taken Kioma and fled to Mexico. For years, the family searched for answers, and in 2010, a private investigator located the pair in Acapulco, Mexico, where they had built a life. Eventually, Kioma's mother received a call from Tafoya in 2011, leading to their return to California with United States Marshals. Andrew Joshua Tafoya was arrested, charged with felony child stealing and probation violation, and subsequently sentenced to prison. Number 6. Missing Asian woman joins search for herself unknowingly. Amidst the breathtaking backdrop of Iceland's Elja volcanic region, a tale unfolded that was equal parts bizarre and intriguing. It involved a tourist who unwittingly found herself at the heart of a search and rescue mission, one that would ultimately reveal her own identity as the missing person. The story began when a member of her tour group disembarked from their bus to freshen up, a seemingly innocuous act. However, in that short span, she underwent a transformation that rendered her unrecognizable to her fellow travelers. A search was launched for a missing woman fitting the description of an Asian, around 160 centimeters tall, dressed in dark attire and fluent in English. Little did anyone suspect that the woman they were fervently looking for was, in fact, herself. She had failed to realize that the description matched her own characteristics, inadvertently becoming a participant in the search party aimed at locating her. Over the course of a suspense-filled night involving nearly 50 individuals, the missing woman experienced a mind-boggling revelation. Slowly, she connected the dots, concluding that she was the person at the center of the frantic search. It was at that moment that she reached out to the authorities. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. It's really intriguing to discuss 15 missing people who were found alive after years. This image you're seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. representing a glimpse into the many other incredible tales that await. Ever wondered what it would be like to vanish from the world's radar, only to return years later? These tales range from heart-wrenching to awe-inspiring. As you gaze at this image, picture the roller coaster of emotions that each of these individuals experienced. What drove them to disappear? How did they manage to survive and ultimately find their way back home? These are questions that we'll continue to answer as we proceed. But it's not just about the individuals themselves, it's also about the dedicated search teams, the families who never lost hope, and the unexpected twists that make these stories so remarkable. As we continue to delve into each story, we invite you to share your own thoughts and feelings. Imagine being separated from a loved one for years and then experiencing the joy of their return. What would that be like for you? What do you think these stories tell us about the human spirit and the bonds of love and determination? Join us in the comments section below, sharing your thoughts as we proceed. Number 5. J.C. Dugard. In the quiet town of South Lake Tahoe, a sunny morning in 1991 would forever change the life of an 11-year-old girl named J.C. Dugard. As she walked to the school bus stop, she was snatched off the street, her world shattering into a nightmare. The man responsible was Philip Garrido, a predator who had spent years perfecting his sinister plans. J.C. was imprisoned in a hidden backyard compound, concealed from the world by a wall of tall trees and a maze of tents. Her name was stolen, replaced with Alyssa. Her childhood vanished, replaced by the chilling uncertainty of captivity. For 18 long years, J.C. lived in the shadows of her captor's twisted reality. She endured unimaginable suffering and abuse, yet somehow she clung to hope. She found solace in her love for her 2 daughters, fathered by Garrido. Her resilience and strength, forged through the darkest of circumstances, kept her spirit alive. In August 2009, a glimmer of hope emerged. 2 alert campus police officers, sensing something amiss, engaged in a conversation with Garrido. That conversation would unravel the horrifying secret. J.C.'s years of torment came to an end as the officers dug deep, unveiling the truth hidden for almost 2 decades. A stolen life, but not a lost one. J.C. Dugard emerged from the darkness, embraced by her family and a world forever changed by her story. Number 4. Steve Carter. Steve Carter's life story reads like a gripping mystery novel, filled with enigmatic twists and emotional highs and lows. From his early years, he carried the weight of unanswered questions about his past. The oddity of his birth certificate, issued a year after his birth, and the ambiguity surrounding his birth parents left a permanent mark on his identity. One day, an innocent internet search plunged him into a whirlwind of discovery. He stumbled upon the extraordinary story of Carlina White, an Atlanta woman who unearthed her own abduction as an infant. This revelation sparked something deep within him, driving him to uncover his own hidden truths. What he found was beyond anything he could have imagined. On missingkids.com, a national website for missing children, he came face to face with a photo labeled Mark's Panama Barnes, a glimpse of what he might look like today. The revelation sent chills down his spine. It was him. His origins, like puzzle pieces scattered over time, everything started falling into place. He learned he was born in Hauula, Hawaii, and at just 6 months old, he and his mother, Charlotte Moriarty, mysteriously vanished. Mark Barnes, his father, was the last to see them, reporting their disappearance on June 21, 1997. For Mark Barnes, the next year and a half became a relentless search, crisscrossing the island in a desperate quest to find his girlfriend and baby son. It was a heartbreaking and soul-crushing journey. Further unraveling the tale, it was revealed that Charlotte had taken Steve to a stranger's home, providing authorities with false names and birth dates. She was taken to a psychiatric hospital, while Steve was placed in protective care. Tragically, she disappeared into the abyss, her fate forever unknown. Left without a mother and shrouded in a fabricated identity, Steve became a ward of the state, placed in an orphanage miles away from his original home. It was there that he was introduced to his new parents, Steve and Pat Carter, who described their connection as love at first sight. Despite the love and warmth of his new family, Steve's childhood curiosity remained a relentless undercurrent. That curiosity led him to the online revelation that would change his life forever. Months after a conclusive DNA test, he reached out to Jennifer Monheimer, his older half-sister and Charlotte Moriarty's daughter. She had spent her life searching for the family she believed was lost, scanning crowds for any sign of them. Jennifer's efforts had led to the photo on the Missing Children's website and the reopening of the investigation. Number 3. Julian Hernandez. The Julian Hernandez abduction case is a captivating story of resilience and hope. In 2002, a seemingly ordinary day turned into a nightmare for Julian Hernandez and his family. Julian was abducted by his non-custodial father, Bobby Hernandez, and for the next 13 years, he remained missing, leaving his loved ones in agonizing uncertainty. The case gained widespread attention as the years passed, capturing the hearts of people around the world who followed the relentless search for Julian. The unwavering determination of Julian's mother, family, and law enforcement brought a spotlight to the issue of parental abductions. Julian's image as a young boy was etched into the minds of many, and his story became a symbol of hope and tenacity for families enduring similar ordeals. The incredible turning point came in 2015, when, at the age of 18, Julian was discovered living under a different name in Ohio. It was a moment of both disbelief and joy, as Julian was finally reunited with his family, who had never given up on finding him. Number 2. Harrison Oken. Harrison Oken's story of survival is nothing short of astonishing. In May 2013, he was working as a cook on the Jascon 4, an oil service vessel off the coast of Nigeria. Suddenly, disaster struck as the ship capsized during a heavy storm, plunging the crew into the treacherous waters of the Atlantic Ocean. What sets Harrison's ordeal apart is what happened next. While the ship sank, Harrison found himself trapped in an air pocket within the vessel, roughly 100 feet underwater. For almost 3 days, he clung to life in complete darkness, surrounded by the eerie sounds of the deep sea. With no way to communicate or alert potential rescuers, his situation seemed hopeless. Then, in a miraculous turn of events, a team of divers from the Dutch company DCN Diving arrived to salvage the ship. As they explored the sunken vessel, they discovered Harrison in the air pocket, barely clinging to life. The moment of his rescue, captured on video, is nothing short of awe-inspiring. Harrison Oken's survival defied all odds, highlighting the strength of the human spirit and the resilience of the human body. Number 1. Petra Pitka. This tale is a mesmerizing narrative, blending mystery, survival, and the remarkable strength of the human will. In 1984, a young German woman, Petra, appeared to vanish without a trace, leaving her family and authorities perplexed. With each passing year, her case turned into a haunting enigma, leading many to believe she had fallen victim to an unsolvable crime. But the truth, when it finally emerged, was nothing short of astonishing. In 2015, more than 3 decades after her disappearance, Petra was miraculously discovered alive. She had been living incognito, concealing her true identity for all those years. This revelation not only astounded the world, but also ignited a global fascination. How had she managed to maintain her secret for so long? What compelled her to choose a life of anonymity? These questions sent ripples of astonishment through the media and the public alike. Petra's story transcends the typical missing person case. It delves into the depths of the human psyche, exploring our potential to evade the past. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.